Good morning. The pardon board is called to order. Today is Monday, May 11th. The time is 9:03 a.m. Would you call the roll, please?
Cheryl Robinson.
Here.
Steve Prater.
Here.
Chucky Tillis.
Here.
Carolyn Singleton.
Here.
Pete Reed.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Our first item of business this morning, before we get into applications for clemency, is review and approval of the minutes from our Monday, April 6th, 2026 meeting. Those minutes are in your packet. Are there any corrections? I'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Make that motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Prater, second by Mr. Tillis. Any objection? Thank you. Hearing none, those minutes are approved. And so now our next agenda item is application for pardons. And our first case is Mr. Watson. Good morning. Would you introduce yourself, sir? Name and your mailing address.
Excuse me, my name is Ryan Watson. I'm at 12 Media Road, Calhoun, Indiana.
Okay, thank you. And you have counsel this morning. He's on Zoom.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Whitten, would you introduce yourself, please, sir?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Attorney Keith Whitten. Mailing address is 1913 Stubbs in Monroe, Louisiana, 71201.
Okay, thank you. And I want to recognize that we have Mr. Watson's wife, Courtney, and she's going to speak on his behalf at the appropriate time. We'll call on her to do so. So this morning, Mr. Watson, your case has been assigned to Mr. Prater. I'll just turn it over to him.
Okay, Mr. Watson, you doing okay today?
Yes, sir.
All right, I want you to talk to us in just a minute. And Mr. Whitten, you can interject or interrupt if you see that's necessary at any time. You know, we'll kind of
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Conversation here today. And so, Mr. Watson, why do you want this pardon? And what did you do to need a pardon?
Well, I'll address the second part of your question first. The how I got here. Was in a pretty rough spot. I guess it's been close to 10 years ago, 9 years ago. I'm a general contractor, and I got into a bad business deal that ended up working out poorly for me financially, and I got a tough spot, and things kind of kept going, getting worse and worse. And I guess I didn't know when to quit or stop digging the hole deeper, I guess. And finally got to a point where I had to make some changes. I feel like I have since made those changes. I feel like I'm a completely different person. I've devoted myself more to my career, more to my family. I have 2 boys and my wife. My boys are 13 and almost 11. The reason that I want the pardon is to have my second righteous sword. So my boys are big into hunting and fishing and stuff like that, and I would like to be able to enjoy that with them. I also coach baseball for my youngest son, and this is just something I'm ready to put behind me as far as I can.
Okay. And I understand it has to do with, and these are uncomfortable things to talk about, but we have an important job to do on this pardon board, and we want to give you the opportunity to explain it all. But oftentimes I've noticed in my career and in law enforcement, when you run into something like this, there's cases like yours where you do something wrong, and then you repent from it and you go about and do good. And then there's cases where there's a lot of fraud with different victims, but it never reaches the point of being criminal. And what I want to determine before I make my decision, and my decision is just one vote, and but before I make my decision is there any indication that this is a pattern? In other words, have you been under investigation for other frauds? Have you been talked to by the police for other frauds? Have you had other complaints filed against you that would be of interest to us?
No, sir, absolutely not. Since this happened, I have really dedicated myself to being above board and as transparent as possible with my customers and people that I do business with. And I feel like we could bring any one of them in here and they would tell you the same thing. I've had no run-ins with the law of any sort, not even so much as a speeding ticket or anything like that. We have really made an effort to be on the straight and narrow. I can promise you, this incident scared the life out of me. It's a very scary time for me, and I saw everything that I have slipped away. So I promise you, I have turned myself around, and I do everything every day to be as open and honest and clear with people as I possibly can. And there's absolutely nothing in my life at this point, or since this has happened, that would be any indication to anything to the contrary.
Okay, have you ever been charged with or investigated for any type of a violent crime?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, well, I'd like to hear, we may have some more questions from the panel up here, but I'd like to hear from your wife now, to hear what she got to say. Ms. Watson, would you go to the podium there, please, and talk to us?
Sure. My name's Courtney Watson. Brian and I have been together nearly 20 years at this point, so I don't know if there's a better character witness out there, but I'm so proud of him. I'm proud to be his wife. This incident obviously caused some of the hardest years of our life. Our boys were babies. And I've spent the better part of a decade working with children and families from hard places, from violent crimes, from abuse and neglect. And I'm not the type of person to stay and put up with it, if that makes sense. I'd struggle on my own with my kids before I put my kids through it. And almost immediately, Brian's eyes truly were opened, to, have been going about things the best way. My family's on the line, my life, my career is on the line. And he set about rectifying everything. There were years that he worked 7 days a week to provide. Those were the diapers and daycare years. Our kids never went without. And, this type of experiences, expensive attorney fees, and, he made sure that his mistakes never cost his family. And of course, dealing with all the financial strain, we did end up, or he ended up filing for bankruptcy, and he has rebuilt his business and his career from the ground up on a cash flow basis, knowing, having the history with the creditors and such, and knowing that's the best way to build a solid foundation and to go forward, just doing is taking on as much as he can, a little at a time, and he's truly gone from the ground up these last 10 years, and actually advocates frequently with our clients. A lot of people, we suggest get multiple bids from multiple contractors to do your work, and please don't pay them up front, because there are so many people out to get people, and he's an advocate against that. He wants to take care of his customers and build that trust and relationship and know that he is reliable, because his reputation is everything. And it's been on the line, and he knows what that can cost him. So.
Okay.
And we have 2 boys. Our oldest was gifted a lifetime hunt and fishing license when he was born from his grandparents, and he's not been able to use, born and bred in the sportsman paradise. And our youngest sees his friends hunting and fishing, and Daddy, what can we go hunt? And they don't know, but he just wants to be there. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. I'll ask the board if you have any questions of Ms. Watson before we go on to Mr. Whidden. Does the board have any questions? Okay. Mr. Whidden, would you like to give us some comments, and then we'll go back to let the board talk to Mr. Watson?
Yes, sir. What I would say about Mr. Watson is that, as you may or may not know from the record, first of all, both of his cases were expunged in Ouachita Parish, Louisiana, without any opposition or issue along those lines. As the board is well aware, law enforcement, district attorney's office, as well as state police had the opportunity to object or enter opposition to that. We faced no such opposition, and both of his expungements went through without issue. So I think that number one shows that his arrest and prosecution did not express issue with expungements being issued in his case. And then as for the Mr. Watson that stands before you today, that is a Mr. Watson that in fact has rebuilt his business. As he stands before you, he holds two contractor licenses, one for building construction and one for residential building contractor. And so what him and his wife have told you so far today is not fluff and stuff. It is not what we plan to do, what we hope to do, what we think we can do. It is what they have actually done, what Mr. Watson has in fact done. He didn't come to this board saying, hey, if I have this opportunity, then I will be able to do these things. He said, no, I'm going to do these things as much as I can. And now, board, showing you that I have done these things and done everything I can to make my life right. This is the last thing that I need for myself to give me, myself, my family, my children, the peace of mind that we need to move forward, because I've done everything else that I can do on my own up to this point. And now he looks to you, the board, to seal the deal, if you will, so that way he can finally put a close to this chapter for himself and for his family.
Okay, thank you, sir. And it's my understanding that the victim in this one particular case has no objection to this, and is in favor of the moving on with your life and getting this pardon. Is that correct?
I have not had any contact with him. I don't know that for sure. But I have not heard anything indicate that he has any objection.
Okay. All right. Mr. Wynn, do you have any knowledge of that?
I have no firsthand knowledge of that, sir.
Okay. All right. I believe that's the only questions that I have.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You stated earlier in your comment that you ran into some trouble, some bad trouble, or what were you saying? What does it mean?
So, I took on a project to build some apartments, and I ended up selling the apartments before construction was finished. And the people that bought them contracted with me to finish the project. And financially, I was just unable to do that. And I kind of ended up digging myself deeper and deeper. And by the time that I ended up having to kind of throw my hands up, declare for bankruptcy.
What were you doing? This cash money that you were receiving, what were you doing?
Sorry, I don't guess I understand. We were trying to build apartments, and there wasn't enough money to do what he.
So how was it? I see where somebody gave you $16,000 and you stepped out of the bank and they gave you some cash back. What was that?
Sometimes when we pay people, honestly, don't know the instance.
Underwood stated he made an invoice for $16,000 after cashing a check. He gave Watson $6,000.
Yes, sir. Mr. Underwood did some work for us on the project, and the owners were paying. At that point, they were paying subcontractors and vendors directly, and we had some expenses that were involved with the work Mr. Underwood was doing. They were trying to cover, and he helped us get the money to do that. Looking back, I realized it was a shady way to do things, and probably would have been better to, or definitely would have been better to be more direct with the owners at the time, and be more upfront about the situation, what I needed to do to complete the project. But I honestly can't tell you where my head was at the time and why I was handling things the way that I was.
Was that the only time you did that?
The only time I did that, yes, sir.
With him? So you did it with someone else?
No, sir, I don't recall doing stuff where I had him cash checks and give me.
Yeah.
Sure.
During this time, there was a series of unfortunate events, is how I refer to it. He had a commercial project working on a school in Washington Parish. They're doing something with the roof or something. And a storm came through and they had prepared the best of their ability. But water got in, it damaged a bunch of smart boards, and their bonding company decided that because it wasn't a named storm or a natural disaster or whatever, that they were at fault. And then so his company ended up having to pay out of pocket to replace all this technology. At the same time, he had a residential home that was a custom home he had built under contract, and the lady backed out on closing day. I think her financing fell through. So we had multiple instances of multiple projects that were just costing way more money than we're anticipating. It's kind of all at the same time.
Have any questions?
And for the record, there is a letter that says the victim in this matter, and I won't mention his name, but you know, the victim assistance coordinator spoke to him, and he said that the offender has made restitution and satisfied the lien that was placed against him. Mr. Cordell has no, that's it, I said his name, so anyway, Mr. Cordell has no opposition to clemency and will be satisfied with whatever the board decides. So that's the letter I was referring to. That's all the questions that I have. Does the board have any other questions?
How much time did you serve?
I was on probation, for, I think about 3 years, maybe a little bit over that. I had to be on probation as long as to get paid restitution back.
So you
In
didn't
other
do it-
words, I was going to say, in other words, he was never revoked on his probation. He was able to successfully complete probation, comply with all terms and conditions of the same.
You were sentenced 9 years and it was suspended.
Yes, sir.
So I have a question, Mr. Watson. I noticed in your, what was provided to us, your criminal history, there was a marijuana arrest.
No, not marijuana. It's a prescription deal.
And I do say it was not Prost. So at the time where all this was going on, how old were you?
25. It was, no, later, maybe 27, 28.
And was substance abuse an issue for you at that time?
No.
Okay. And you mentioned, I know your wife mentioned, your kids don't really know what happened. Will you ever tell them?
Sure, I will, especially as my kids get older. I think that it could be a valuable opportunity for me to learn from my mistakes, not repeat the same.
Yeah. So what about your clients that you work with now? Are they aware?
Some of them are. Obviously, it's not something that I necessarily advertise.
Right.
I'm not proud of it by any means. I'm definitely proud of how far we've gone since and what we've been able to accomplish since then, especially with this kind of hanging over my head and always being a constant reminder of what I've done and the things that I need to do to make up for it. But I do have some that I convey that to some people that I work with more frequently. It's not maybe a one-off thing, people I develop relationships with. I'll tell them my history and things that I've been through to make me the person that I am today, the things that I've gone through to learn and to be better at what I do and to be a better person.
So the restitution we said was fully paid. What was the amount of restitution? Do you
I
know?
think it's like $70,000.
All right. Any other questions? All right.
Okay, I'll be the first to vote, and like I say, mine is just one vote, and whatever we come up with is just a recommendation to the governor. And he's the ultimate say-so on this, but I think that after hearing from your attorney and your wife and yourself, looking at what the victim had to say, my vote is to grant this pardon with restoration.
Mr. Freeman,
My vote is to grant with restoration of firearms.
Mr. Tillis,
My vote is going to be to deny.
Mrs. Stapleton?
My vote is to grant restoration of farm because restitutions. And yeah, when you steal from people, that's a devastating problem. Some people never recover from it. But you did pay your restitution. That's fine. And no further, there's no law enforcement opposition whatsoever in the victim opposition. There's no opposition there. So all of that combined.
Mr. Watson, my vote today also is to make the recommendation for a pardon with restoration of firearms. You have, your records have been expunged. You have absolutely opposition that's been expressed. So on you received one vote that was not favorable, but you did get the 4 votes that you needed. So we'll make that recommendation on your behalf. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, we're back on. Would you introduce yourself, or tell us your name and your current mailing address?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Davan Ford. I live at 30894 Linda Road, Denton Springs,
You can tell us yourself.
70726.
And let me just acknowledge you have some folks here in support with you, Mr. Shumate. And Mr. Quintini, and both of whom will be speaking on your behalf will ask me for their remarks shortly. First, I'm just going to read a little bit of identifying information into the record, and then your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman, seated to my far right. He'll take the lead on the interview. So, Mr. Ford, you're here seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in East Baton Rouge Parish, October 2010, second-degree robbery. You received a 10-year sentence that was suspended. You were placed on 5 years probation. Is that correct information?
Yes, ma'am. I got off probation 2.5 years ago.
Okay. All right. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, and as you stated, you got off in 2014. They closed you at half. Yes. Half of your probation. Yes. Okay, go on and tell me, what did you do? Exactly what did you do to get yourself put on that probation? And what have you done since? And why do you need your first offender pardon? Yes, sir. In December 16th of that year, 2009, I was in a real desperate spot. And my kids didn't have any Christmas presents or food. I made a terrible decision. I robbed a donut shop with a toy gun. And I felt terrible about it ever since. And since I've been home, I've been married for 15 years to my wife. I met her right when I got home out of prison. I was offshore for 12 years right after that. And I wanted to build my own business. I started a roofing company, we built it from the ground up. Yeah, I've been going to the church, same church that I go to, Jeremy's Church, for 14 years also. Yeah, what kind of, do you do any community service, any coaching, any, Yes, sir, I work with the homeless through the outreaches with the church and serve kids. And also help some recovering addicts at a halfway house that one of my friends owned. Just telling them my story and trying to give them some hope to be able to, that they can get past it. I kind of saw that. It looked like you had a little substance abuse problem at that time? Yes, sir. Yeah, I was. Yes, sir. Whenever the crime happened, yes. And what did you do to kick this substance abuse habit? I went to a correctional facility and I was corrected.
There you go.
And then finding God and staying close to Him, and I never did any kind of rehabilitation, but I completely changed. I'm not that person anymore. Only thing that ties me to that lifestyle when I messed up is this right here. Okay, and how long you said you had your roofing company now? 3 years. 3 years. Okay. I do want to know for the record that the victim in this case has passed away, but the mother is unopposed. And the law enforcement, a lot of it was no comments. So that's what we're working with. So let's hear from the people that came here to speak on your behalf. Let's hear from Joe Mack Shoemake.
And I'm Marshall Judge Jim. I'm the city marshal in Springs. I've known the man since he's been in Denham. His wife is my friend on the school's daughter. So I've known the whole life. He's done a really good job getting himself straightened up, cleaned up. He is not the person he used to be. He's a model person as far as helping people and doing person. I had a friend of mine that I was over helping a 92-year-old retired dentist who was a dentist. I worked still working at the same place I grew up, and I was a city policeman there for 33 years. So I went over there to help my 92-year-old dentist put cameras up. So while I'm over there, his roof is bad, this and that is bad. He said, I need to know somebody. So I called the man, come over here and talk to this man, see what you do. Of course, he did all kinds of stuff for him, start fixing up whatever. He has really changed for himself. This is not something that is put on. He is a changed person. You know, everybody has a right to go through, 16 years of sobriety and showing that he has made changes in his life. He has his kids, he has grandkids, I think his great grandkids also, and he is a truly changed person. So I think he deserves a chance to rehabilitate. Like I said, corrections corrected him. So that's one good thing about that. So that's all I have to say about that.
Okay, thank you. All right, and Mr. Jeremy Quintini.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I actually take it as a bit of an honor to be able to speak on behalf of somebody that I have grown to know. I have been in Baton Rouge, from New Orleans, lived in Orlando as a pastor, moved here in 2012. So I've been knowing the man for, right about 14 years. When I first came to our church, he was one of the first guys I met, relatively the same age. So we connected. He was just a plumber. He had his youngest son. I had just had my oldest son. We connected a little bit of that. His girls were in the youth group where I was a youth pastor. And I do remember a couple of times, like Davan, but he actually is a very honest and vulnerable individual. And whenever he told me about his past and issues that he had, I remember being a little shocked because of the weight of the individual that I was beginning to know was not that of someone who would have done such a thing. And he just telling me a story and learning a little bit more about him, I began to see the change that we all want to see. And we're all have issues. Some of those issues are a little deeper and cause us to do deeper things. And what we see is what we call maybe in a sense like a menace to society. But I love the fact that as I have seen him, we've seen him stay out of trouble, He has been a huge supporter of the church. And again, the fact that, that he has been married, for 15 years to his wife, is a testament in itself of stability, raising, 4 daughters, and his son Gabe. Shows that he's loving a family. He's self-sacrificing, not only to his family, but to his community. As he said, the outreaches that we have as a church, he's always there. We have 2 different campuses, and I'm driving around trying to organize people, and I see him and his son walking on the Denver Springs Highway, going over the Amite River, and they're cleaning up the highway, part of a group, of course, but that's constantly. There's a hurricane in New Orleans. I had some friends who had some pretty damaged their houses. He was going out there. He calls himself the roof man. Davan has a recruit, knows a bit about building more than I do, and was able to help us fix houses, tear down buildings, and really give him the lead and responsibility on handling situations. But I do remember a couple of years ago, and I do want to point this out, that probably 2-3 years ago, he came to our church and he said he wanted to be baptized. And he said, look, I've been following the Lord for a long while, but I want to take this a little bit further, and I want to be baptized. I said, man, come on, let's go. The way we do it is actually during the service. We have a worship service in front of the whole church family, probably 400 or 500 people. And to my shock, as he was mentioning a moment ago, with some individuals, I think it was about 12 guys that he is helping through his own sales and company. He has brought them up, is encouraging them through the halfway house, encouraging them, helping give them jobs, and really mentoring them as he is mentoring. I actually spoke to one of his mentors that he's been with. He said years. Jason said years. They meet weekly, about an hour for breakfast, 1 day a week, and just to speak of his commitment in multiple different categories with his family, with his church, with a mentor, and then mentoring other individuals. I've seen a lot of people come through our church through the years that I've been a pastor, and sometimes we hang on to the reality, like we want so bad people to change for society, for the glory of God, for their lives. And every now and then, people, they slip in and they slip out as fast as they come. Davan has absolutely stood for 16 years with consistency. Other than 4 years, he moved to Texas and moved out there, but came back, and he's been here for a good long while still. But Davan has stood the test of time, which I think all of us admire, and we have to admire. That the statement that Paul said in 2 Corinthians 5, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. And the man that stands before us today is not that same guy. So we thank you for your consideration and everything that you all do for our community.
Okay. Yeah, you go back up to the front. Mr. Ford. Okay, Mr. Ford, let's talk about the other arrest you had back in 2003 for, I think it was an armed robbery too. What kind of gun you had then, or what kind of weapon you had?
That was a dispute between some individuals. I ended up taking that weapon from them, actually, when that happened, and reversing the situation.
And do you have to have your firearm rights back? Why you want your firearms rights back?
So I can take my son hunting. That's what we want to do. He's 14. My father-in-law, he's part of a hunting camp, and there's several hunting seasons that I would have been there with him, building that relationship, and I wasn't able to. And I just want to be able to take my son.
And the gun was a fake gun.
Yes, sir. It was a toy gun. Yes, sir. I had a real gun. I went and pawned everything to give the money to my ex-wife. You know, I made that decision, a terrible decision, to get my toy gun and do that.
Okay. Well, I have no further questions.
Mr. Ford, which time were you talking about? You say you met your wife after you got out of jail, prison?
Yes, sir. I met my wife 2 weeks after I come home from prison.
What time was that? Was it the 10-year sentence you had, or?
Yes, sir. After 2009.
That was suspended, the 10 years was suspended.
Yes, sir. It was suspended and I was given probation.
Well, what time?
How long did you stay in jail?
I think, a little less than a year, I guess. I got arrested December and I got out in October, right after my birthday.
And, when you turned the gun on somebody else and robbed them, how long were you in jail then?
Several months until they got, the whole case was, kicked out of the court.
Okay, I have no questions.
Was there any other questions, Mr. Freeman?
Yeah, I'm just hung up on the gun rights. I think you deserve a pardon. I am a little concerned about giving you a weapon.
I can explain more on what happened in that.
No, I think I know what happened. I mean, I know it was a toy gun. My vote's gonna be to grant with firearm rights.
Mr. Tillis?
My vote's gonna be to deny, the sheriff and the, AG, was opposed.
Mrs. Stapleton?
It was 16 years ago.
Yes.
That's playing a heavy part in my decision, okay? Got 16 years, you've got a lot of outreach. I think outreach to the homeless. Such a wonderful thing for anybody to do. The addiction, that also is a major problem in our society today. So because of the length of time, and then all the services you've provided for the community, I don't think you're a threat to public safety with a gun, so I'm going to vote for with restoration.
Mr. Prater?
I'm all for granting, but I'm hung up on the gun thing with the two violent charges in your past. And I understand why you want it, but I'm just not prepared to, do the gun rights. So my vote is to recommend to the governor that you be granted a pardon without restoration of firearms.
All right, Mr. Ford, my vote would be to make the recommendation for the pardon with restoration of firearms. You've had 16 years of sobriety and community outreach, which speaks volumes to me. So, you did get 4 votes to recommend the pardon. You got the 3, majority says with firearms, so that is the recommendation we'll make. Good luck to you, sir. Would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and current mailing address.
My name's Alton Hardwick.
What's your zip?
Now,
Zip code?
7129.
Okay, thank you, sir. So you're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms for a conviction for which you were sentenced January of 1990 for theft. You received a 1-year sentence and that was suspended. Let me just acknowledge you have your wife, Mrs. Hardwick, who's here and wants to speak, and we'll call on her shortly for her comments. Your case this morning has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton, and we'll turn it over to her.
Morning. Mr. Hardwick, can you tell us, why do you want this pardon? And what you did?
Well, what happened was, it started with my sister's. And he was very, they lived a bad life. And he was very abusive to her. And he was in and out of jail a lot. So on this one day, he had talked us into going with him to ride around neighborhoods, steal weeds or whatever, get out of the carport so he could get beer. And beer life. And had my sister call him. And once that happened, and it was young, we were young, and it took me a long time to straighten out what I did when I was young. That was one of the worst things in my life. And I just wanted to make amends, and I just wanted to, make myself, everything straight. I've turned my life around. I make my taxes. I go to work every day. I just bought a new bed. I've been married for 11 years. I'm married separately. This is like to have my rights back.
Okay, so, it's happened 26 years ago, am I correct? It's happened about 26 years ago.
Yeah, it's 89 to 90.
So how, you said you were young, how old were you when this crime was committed?
I think when it actually happened, I was around 18 to 19 years old.
Okay,
It was the very first time I ever got into trouble.
okay.
And so it was a big mistake.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, I don't know why my sister picked some of the guys that she did, but this guy he stayed in jail all the time. And he was, like I said, he was very I will say I was easily influenced at that time. I was young, didn't know which path to take. Still trying to figure out things.
And I got it would have been about 36 years ago that it happened. It happened, 1990, we're in 26, so it's been about 36 years ago. And there's been no problems in your record since then. That was it, right?
Well, I mean, I did have some other stuff, happen on later on, but not like that.
But you got arrested and charged with stuff later on?
I did, yes, ma'am.
What was it?
Well, I had a few DWIs, stuff to that nature. But that's been several years since all that's happened too. So, straighten my life out.
What were when were the DWIs? How many DWIs have you had?
Well, in all, over the course of the years, I had 5. But never was convicted of anything but the second because they were so widespread. And I had, I think, 3 in Louisiana, 1 in a different state, 1 in Texas, Virginia, and Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And I traveled a lot through those years. And back then, we used to like to go to bars.
You had a drinking problem?
Not really a drinking problem. It's just the people that I hung out with, we like to go take go to bars and shoot pool and have drinks. You know, drive yourself home. Back then, we just didn't think much about getting somebody to drive us home. We just took ourselves home. I would never do that now. Sure. I learned my lesson the hard way.
So
Did you get any treatment for alcoholism?
I did go to some rehabs through the years and, a couple of different times.
You're alcoholic?
No, sir.
When's the last time you sought treatment for alcoholism?
Less than probably 15 years ago,
15 years
at
ago?
least. I've been with her for 15 years. It's probably been longer than 15 years that we've been together. It's probably been over 20 years. Something, it's been a really long time.
Well, that, for me, DWI is a major deal as far as,
But that's been probably over 15 years ago too, since it's very early 2000, I think, probably the last time I had one.
yeah, I see a third that was dismissed in 2008. That's the last one I have on my.
Or 2000.
Third, and like you said, a lot of times people are arrested and they're not charged with DWI, it's dropped and stuff like that, so it really doesn't always
I
reflect.
think on that particular one, I didn't have enough alcohol in me to be, I think I may have had a couple of beers or something. Just going somewhere to the house or where I don't.
Do you still drink?
Okay, social. But it's mostly in my home. I don't go, we don't have much of a social life. We like to enjoy our house. We go to work every day, come home, we might sit out and go back to work, you know, a couple of beers, eat supper, drink a bit. That's it, stand up.
You have a lot of opposition.
Wow.
You have a lot of law enforcement opposition, sheriff, chief of police from Monroe. West Monroe is opposed also. The DA is unopposed, and you have a judge that's no comment, and the AG no comment. So I wanted to let you know about that. Does anyone else have any questions of him before his wife speaks? No, ma'am, would you like to get up, speak? Please, for the record.
I said 1299. I would like to say that Alton's raised very well. He's been influenced by some things in his life, but that's not the case. He's a really good person. And he's worked really hard to turn his life around. He's a good husband, he's a good provider. Like he said, he just bought his first ring. So he's 57 years old. And he's just trying to get his record straight. I mean, he's trying to clean up what he did when he was young. Because he was young and dumb, he made mistakes. I think we all do. Some of us don't make those kind of mistakes, but I don't think that any of us are past it. We cannot get past it. But I believe in second chances. Sometimes third chances. But I really, he's my heart and soul. I'd like to see him get this cleared up so that he can feel free from his past sort of stuff.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Is there
anything you want to ask?
Did anyone have a question for the wife? All right, Mr. Hardwick, step back up. I do want to ask you, not having this pardon, what what has it stopped you from achieving, like, work or anything like that? What particular type of work would it affect?
Well, it really doesn't affect my work
Uh-huh.
at all. I'm just a farmer.
Yeah.
And, it's just, I live and live. People hunt fish.
Yes.
And I'm not a big hunter. I'm a casual hunter, but I'm a big fisherman. I just love it. My wife does get it. But there is times I do like to do it. And really how all this started was all the things to get it, but not to hunt. So that's when this started. I started this process over 3 years ago. And I didn't want to get in no trouble. So I wanted to put this up and I consider myself to be a productive member of society. And like I said, I'll pay my taxes and I go to work. I like to be able to hold the second thing like anybody else.
Yeah.
Even though I know I made mistakes, but I'll leave past them.
Okay. Are there any other questions? I don't see any other questions, Mr. Hardwick. I think we're prepared to vote. Mrs. Stapleton?
Mr. Hardwick, I would have voted for you, except I'm always leery and cautious of DWIs. I just am. If somebody gets a DWI, they could have killed people on the road. And you had numerous DWIs, and now you say 15 years, but you don't consider yourself an alcoholic with the numerous DWIs that you had. And then you still drink occasionally at home. I hope you don't get on the road, but I don't know any of that. Today, I'm going to have to vote to deny based upon the continued DWIs, and this would be a part, and that would clear everything away. So my vote today is to deny. I said to deny. I'm sorry. So that's my vote today.
Mr. Prater?
The crime that you're asking to be pardoned for happened 37 years ago. Is that correct?
It's been a long time.
That's the theft that you're asking to be pardoned for.
Yes,
The other charges remain on your record. You understand that?
yes.
Okay. Due to the fact that the crime is 37 years old and it's a theft and you hadn't been any serious crime since then, my vote is to grant the pardon. I'm concerned because you and I have a different idea about what an alcoholic is. And I know a lot of people that drink socially and they've never had one DWI or two, or been arrested for 3, but you've had 5 and you continue to drink, which is your business. That's not my business, but it does indicate to me that you may have a problem that you're not admitted to, but that's, like I say, that's between you and our maker to decide. So back to what I was saying, my vote is to grant your pardon, but without restoration of firearms.
Mr. Freeman?
He is just seeking that charge. So my vote is going to be to grant without arms.
Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Hartman, you have some people who are in opposition to sheriff and the chief of police and all that, but you appear to be an honest guy. I would have said some things you said. You put it out on the table, and I think that's good. I don't think you have a drinking problem right now, and what's going to be the grant with firearms.
Well, Mr. Hardwick, I agree. It's been almost 37 years since you had that issue. I too am concerned a little bit about the history of drinking and driving, even though that's been, I believe, 18 years since you had an arrest for that. But my vote today also will be to make the recommendation for a pardon, but I do agree, pardon without restoration of firearms. So on your behalf, we're going to make the recommendation to the governor that you be granted a pardon but without restoration of firearms at this time. Good luck to you, sir. Thank you. Is for Ben Gibson. Is that you?
Yes, ma'am.
So would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address.
I'm Gibson. I can work very hard, drive, and focus, just did tennis.
So you're here today, let's see, Mr. Gibson. Seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in Bossier Parish, March 2024 for possession of Schedule 3. You received a 3-year suspended sentence. You were placed on 3 years probation.
Yes, sir.
Is it 3 years or 2 years probation?
3.
3 years. Your case this morning has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. I'll turn it over to him. Thank you. Can you see him?
Okay, Mr. Gibson, is your name Mr. Gibson or Mr. Malone?
I had a legal name change a few months ago.
Any particular reason for the name change?
To completely get over what has happened and for job searches. People would look up my old name and see the crimes. Now it limited me for jobs and I not get some of that.
Okay. All right, and so you will you go on and tell us in your words, what was going on?
So
What you did?
In 2020, my house got raided over some very bad crimes. Later, evidence came and cleared my name, but at the time in 2020, I was not under a doctor's care for my testosterone. And I do take full responsibility for that. I was diagnosed with hypogonadism in my early 20s, and I have been on testosterone treatment since then, but at that time, I was not under medical care. But since that arrest, immediately after, I went to the doctor's office and I told the doctor there has to be another alternative. They set up a plan. Now I receive surgically implanted testosterone pellets every 6 months, and I think you guys have the doctor notes on that, and if you don't,
Okay. All right, and are you currently in school? Or you graduated?
I graduated with my master's and I'm a doctoral candidate but the semester hasn't started.
Okay. And, did you ever work out? Were you into working out?
Yes, sir.
So it did help out a little bit too with that, didn't
Yes, sir.
it? Okay. And I saw where you said you worked with hospice. What did you do with hospice?
So I've been volunteering for, well, I started with home health. And I volunteered for home health for a while, and then I moved to hospice. So I've been with hospice for almost 4 years, but it's still under the same hospital system.
And what do you do? Because I think that's important.
Yes, so there is not very much direct care with the patients, only the nurses ask for assistance, but with the families, I'll help with groceries, lawn, building a ramp. Sometimes they will need little supplies at all times of the day, like, if you're very familiar with North Street Report, I drove out last week, I mean, pretty far, to just check on a lady, but I was a firefighter and paramedic for a while, so I still have all this.
And are you still on supervision?
Oh, no, sir. I got off early,
When did you get off?
1 year after. 2024, early 2024.
24.
Yes, sir.
And tell me something, I saw where in 220, you got arrested for pornography of juvenile. What was that about?
Yes, sir, that was that crime that I just mentioned earlier in late 2020. They raided my house for possession of child pornography, which further evidence came that it cleared my name, and they dropped the charges.
So what, they searched all your stuff and all the charges were dropped?
Yes, sir.
So there was no basis?
Yes. But when they raided my house, that's when they found my testosterone.
Right.
Sorry. Correct.
Okay, so let's see if I have anything else. Okay, and I see you have a big job off, well, maybe.
Yes, sir. I have
Okay.
two. I have one offer and one tentative offer. The federal one does require top secret, and the state one, it's investigator requires certification. And if I am granted that, drive it there.
And I. Okay. So it's trying to verify those offers,
Yes, sir. I can verify them for you.
Okay, I have no further questions.
So we did get your letter, and one of those offers, the start date was this month. Oh,
Yes.
in
Next. Yes.
later this month.
Yes, ma'am.
And so the felony would present a barrier for that
Yes.
position. Any other questions?
I move for an executive session.
A motion for executive session, if there's a second. Second by Mrs. Stapleton. Could you call the roll, please?
Freeman,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Renata,
Yes.
Phyllis,
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes. So, Mr. Gibson, I'm gonna call you that just because that's the name
Yes,
we have on our record.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna be in executive session for just a few moments to discuss
Yes, yes.
confidential matters. We'll be right back. Regular session, it is 10:14 a.m. Without objection, we'll be back in regular session. So, are there any other questions of Mr. Gibson?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Gibson, I'm looking at your case and I'm looking at the reasoning and and I could see if we could grant the exception if it was further time, but it's only 2 years since you've been off supervision, and I think you still would have been on if it wasn't closed early. My vote today is going to be to deny, not enough cleansing time, only 2 years.
Mr. Tillis?
My vote also is to deny, I concur with Mr. Freeman.
And mine's gonna be to deny for the same reason, and I'd like to add that all law enforcement are in opposition.
Mr. Prater?
I concur with the reasoning and all of that behind my denial.
All right, Mr. Gibson, today your application for clemency has been denied, sir. Goodbye. Good morning. Ms. Broussard, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and mailing address, please.
My name is SHAINA BROUSSARD and my mailing address is 103 Hatsat Ridge Drive in Broussard.
What's your zip code?
70518.
Okay, thank you. And you have with you your Mr. Paul Broussard, your father, who wants to speak on your behalf, and we'll ask him to do so shortly.
Okay.
So let me just read some identifying information into the record. So you're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in Vermilion Parish, July of 2016 for possession of methamphetamines. You received a 2-year DOC sentence that was suspended. You were placed on 18 months probation, and then that was extended to the full 5 years. Is that correct?
So I had probation for, at first they said it was 2 years, and then I got off in 1 year. And that was it.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. Your case has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton. Would you answer her questions?
Good morning. Listen, in your own words, tell us why you'd like to have this pardon. And then what did you do also to, what was the circumstances?
The circumstances, that day, I was riding with another person. And the tax force got behind us. They stopped us. And what happened was he had some methamphetamine and he threw it in my lap. When the cop was behind us, so when the cop stopped us, got us out of the car, I asked if we had anything. So I just told him, I told him what happened. And I just, because he wanted me to, you know, I guess he thought that I was gonna hide it for him. But first, you know, I didn't want to have nothing to do. This wasn't even mine in the first place. He just threw it in my lap. So when the cops asked, I just gave it to him. I told him what happened. Because that's exactly what happened. And that was it.
So you got charged for the possession, basically?
But yes, because it was on me and he threw it into my lap. When the cops came, they took him out. They took me out separate after what happened. He was already freaking out, screaming at me when they took him out of the car. I guess because he thought maybe, oh, since you already have it, you know, why don't you not say something? No, I just told him the truth about that.
Good for you.
I mean, that's all.
So you were using meth at that time?
Yes, I was. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
And that's why y'all were together?
yes, but see, this guy, he was just somebody that I never rode with this guy before. I went with this guy before being here. That was the first date that I had. And like I knew him from some other friends I was hanging out, but they were all using, we were all using at that time.
So how have you managed to, you don't use drugs any longer? I see that you've been going to rehab and that you're still under rehab. Am I correct?
Then I went to the rehab. And I was on probation, you know, for that year, working and everything. So no, the last time I used drugs was actually that day that I got arrested. So from then on, I've been clean and now I'm in school. And the reason I'm asking for the pardon is because I have 1 year of school left. I'm going out to be a medical laboratory scientist. And I will graduate next May of 2027 from SFPC in Latvia. So the reason I'm asking for the pardon is that way I'd be able to get a job and be a normal citizen, and that it wouldn't hurt me to be able to get a job. That's the reason I'm.
Let me ask you, in nursing, because you are gonna be around different kind of medicines and stuff like that, would this felony affect you being able to practice as a nurse or no?
Well, so I thought about that. So I was going for nursing at first, but now when I graduate as I changed my, you know, because I didn't want to have another stumble or something in the way. So I changed my major to medical laboratory sciences. So now that's the program I'm in. I've been in it for a year now, 1 year left. So I'm not gonna be on the side of having to give patients meds.
Well, that was smart of you.
So, yeah.
That's good.
So
That's
what I did,
a lot
try to not have to have that, you know, just not have it, you know, and to still be able to help patients every day and change their lives, because we can save their lives by looking at, you know, their biopsies, their blood and everything, so I changed that.
Well, I think that was, that does happen.
Yes.
And so it does, it puts a stumbling block in a person's way, in the medical profession. And so you were smart and you'll still be able to accomplish what you want to in life,
Yes.
sounds like.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and, I want to say that, the ADA, the sheriff and the chief of police, they're unopposed. The AG is opposed, but you have the other people and the judge had no comment either on it. But I'm real proud of what you're doing with your life. And like I read that you're still in counseling.
Yes.
So you're making sure that you get
Yes,
to have a good life at this point.
Yeah, I don't wanna ever have to go back to that. So much has gotten better, it's changed, and so that's why I don't wanna ever to go back that way. So I try to make sure to do everything that I have to do. That way it won't lead to nothing.
Proud of you. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, your father's here to speak for you.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, yes, so I'm here on behalf of my daughter. It's been quite an experience. But I'm here to say that, she's living with me. And I'm proud of her. It's a year back. I know she can do this. And I'm here to support her. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's been about 9 years since the arrest and everything's what I have here. You've done well with your life. You've done everything positive to make yourself be able to have a good life. I got one question. You're asking for firearms also?
That it doesn't.
Okay, all right.
It doesn't.
It just is what came up.
Do you have any pending charges?
No, sir, I do not.
Because I saw where they were trying to clear that up, so all of your charges are done.
Yes, sir. Well, you see, you know what happened? They had, the first time they did the, for me to come in, they had a $50 fee on that I owed, like it looked like I owed $50. But
Okay,
so I went and got that taken care of. What it was, the $50 fee, I was already in jail that day. They didn't bring me to the court date, and they brought me to the court date the next day. Is why they had that on there. But they took it off. I had to go and get it removed. So that made me do it.
All right, well, that's good, guys. Anyone have any other questions? Okay, well, I'm ready to vote, Ms. Broussard. I'm real proud of you. And I'm happy for your dad, because I know what a lot of people have children that go through this, and we all want to hear success stories. So I wish you every good fortune. So today, my vote is to recommend that you be granted your pardon. And the firearms, I'm not concerned about. I don't think you're going to shoot anybody. I wouldn't get you here, so I'm going to grant with firearms, just in case you want to have one later for protection.
Mr. Craven.
I think you've done excellent work. And, my vote also is to grant, with firearms.
Mr. Freeman.
my vote also could be to grant with firearms, but, make sure you keep up with your treatments and stuff, okay? Because it's a tough world out there.
Mr. Tillis.
My vote is to grant the firearms.
All right, so today you've received the vote you need, pardon with restoration of firearms. So that's the recommendation we'll make on your behalf. And good luck to you. Say your last name. Russo. Would you formally introduce yourself? Tell us your name and mailing address, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Alpha Health. And strike in, so. 3323.
Could you speak a little louder, please?
My name is Frank Andrew Russo Jr. I live at 323 Fulton Street in Natchitoches, Louisiana. 747.
Thank you. And you have counsel with you today, sir. Would you introduce yourself for the record?
Yes, ma'am. Franz Borghardt, present on behalf of Mr. Russo. That's Borghardt.
Got it. Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Russo, I'm going to read some identifying information into the record, and then we'll proceed from there. So you are here today, Mr. Russo, seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You have two sentencing dates. One is in Lafayette Parish and one is in St. Martin Parish. The first date was in December 2015, unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling, simple burglary, domestic abuse, aggravated assault, domestic abuse, battery, and violation of protective orders. For that offense, you received a 4-year DOC sentence that was suspended. You were placed on 3 years probation. And then the next date is in June of 2016. There was a conviction, second-degree battery. You received a 5-year DOC sentence. That too was suspended. You were placed on 3 years probation. Is all that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you, sir. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Okay, Mr. Russo, why don't you tell me, it's very confusing when you read the arrest report and the offense. Tell me exactly what happened.
I will tell you exactly what happened. I access for that I use my words as I understand.
Sure.
The charges in Martinsville is the same charges not dead. It's the exact same. But having a 7th grade education, no access to law books. I just I didn't know. I own what I did, and I've since been I've had 0 issues with anyone. I'm over the state, and I did everything I could to right anymore. So be honest, I married a Marcellus after dating her for a year. I worked offshore, so I would leave for a month. I come in for a week and I leave for a month. So time flew by pretty fast, but crunch the time together. Probably looking at a few months. I've never had any issues with it. It wasn't until she went to get married. That's I didn't have any issues with problems, didn't have any signs of infidelity or anything like that. So I said, yeah. So when we got married, Brother Blaze, the sheriff of St. Mary Parish, is one. Since that's when he said turn around and face the people over there, he said, I'd like to welcome Mr. So her mother walked up to me and grabbed me overhead, pulled me in to her ear. She said, son, you have a line here. She says, I'll pray for him. She went to the gate. She never later on, took testing, which is mom. She said, that's all. So I was thought I was a second. But until after all of this came out, I found out I was 6. identical situations for each other. Well, went to prison. One of them escaped.
Yeah, but tell me about what happened at the hotel. We're getting way off here.
Okay.
Tell me what happened with the stabbing.
Okay, so I had an attorney, because I filed for divorce, and when we got married on Saturday, I had to go offshore that Monday for that week, so I would have the 2 weeks off so we could go on honeymoon. While I was offshore, I get a video sent from a friend of mine, her making out with a guy in the corner of the boat. So I flew in, I talked to her, I said, can you explain this video to me? And she says, it's not what it seems. I said, it's exactly what it seems. I said, I want to ask you to please get your stuff and leave the house. And she did. Then I went offshore. Well, I went and I hired a brand attorney to file for divorce. I wanted to get it over with. It was on right for days. I went and had a protective order put on her to keep her out of my house that I had been over. Nobody told me that I had to go to a hearing. I only filled out the paperwork. Having a 7th grade education, not doing the law. Just did what I was going to do. So I filled out the paperwork. Well, I missed the hearing, so you know, well, she was notified. So she came in and she found me. When I came in from offshore, they arrested me. Violating protective order. I said, well, I was never served. I didn't know I had one. And so you're getting served right now and arrested. It is what it is. So they're arrested. And then Kate got called. And I called my attorney after she called me. She don't answer her phone. I said, she leaves a voicemail. She shows up all hours of the night. She was back in. She saw her.
You still gotta get your way. Get to the where all of this stuff took place. I mean, I understand all what led up to it. Y'all had a terrible marriage, and it don't sound like you should have gotten married. But I need to know what happened at the hotel when you stabbed the boyfriend and stabbed her. Or stabbed the boyfriend.
No, I didn't touch her.
No, you didn't touch her.
I didn't see her.
Yeah.
That's in the report. She never saw me either. Okay, all right. So Randy told me that I have a legal and moral obligation to protect my wife mentally, physically, and spiritually. I got in from offshore. I stopped at Burger King, got me something to eat, went home, I ate it, took a shower, got in bed. 11:30 at night, his sister comes banging on all my windows on my house. I answered the door. She says, you gotta come down, you gotta come down. Kay's locked up in a bathroom in a hotel. The guys are talking about raping her. They've been doing meth and drinking and all that. And she's locked in the bathroom. Can I go get her? And I said, yeah, can you show me what hotel? Her sister said yes. So she brought me to the hotel. I walked into the lobby. I didn't know what room we were in. So I asked the lady, I said, did you see her prelim line check in recently? She says, yes. She said, I can't give you the room number. My mouth's getting dry, I'm sorry. She said, can't give you the room number, I can call. And they can give it to you. I said, okay, please do. So she called the room. Well, the guy answered. And she says, I had a gentleman here wanting to speak to Kay. And he says, let me talk to him. So she handed me the phone. He says, hey, I'm in room 209. I have a surprise for you. I said, okay, I'll see you in a little bit. So I went up the elevator. When I knocked on the door, they said, who is it? I said, it's Frank. It says Kay in there. And he opened up the door and stuck me in the mouth with a Bowie knife. I had the scar. They cut out 3 teeth. It went to my throat. I grabbed the knife, I pulled it out. He went to stab me again, so right now it was beautiful. I'm trying to hold it in. He stabbed me before. I turned to leave, he stabbed me in my back. I had no choice but to defend myself. That's what I did. I went in fight or flight mode. I had no time to say, look, we'll call the police and nothing like that. I mean, I'm hemorrhaging blood. I need to get to the hospital. So I took the knife from him. And when I pushed him off my back, I didn't stab him. He went back in the room. I went downstairs. I called the police. The sheriff's department in San Martinville showed up. That was the offense in San Martinville, the second degree battery. I was at the hotel. That's what happened.
Okay. So there was two different people you stabbed?
I did not stab anyone.
Were there two different people you allegedly stabbed?
No, no, sir.
Well, I said there's two different victims.
There would have been two people there, my wife and the deportation never saw me. And,
All right, so, let's see. So, but you went there, how long, when did the restraining order, it came into effect when y'all first got married? So when you went to that hotel, you knew about the restraining order?
But my attorney told me I had a legal obligation to protect.
Well, I don't know what your attorney told you, but that wasn't too smart. I don't know. My wife just got to go down on if she's doing drugs with another man in a hotel. But anyway,
I didn't know no better, sir, I'll be honest with you.
okay. All right, the attorney, what do you have to say?
So, all fair questions. He pled guilty, he accepted responsibility. If I'm one of you guys, I might be thinking, well, if it went down the way Mr. Russo just said it went down, why in the world would you ever plead guilty to that? The fact of the matter was he was incarcerated. And they offered him a deal where he could plead guilty and get out of jail. And that's what he did. But he did accept responsibility. He did violate the protective order. We're not, ladies and gentlemen, we're not here disputing the fact that he is a convicted felon. What we are here to say is since that time, he has had no run-ins with the law. He completed probation. In fact, he was terminated satisfactory 2 years early. He has been gainfully employed. The main reason we're applying for this pardon, ladies and gentlemen, is because he's hit a ceiling in his work to where if he does not have this pardon, not only can he not go further in his job, which he's been doing for how many years now? 30 years, but they're gonna terminate his based on the nature of these charges. He's been able to get the necessary TWIT, OSHA, those kind of certifications he needs to work on military bases. That's coming to a head now. The other piece for why he's applying for this, full disclosure, is he's got grandchildren now. And at some point, he would like to be able to hunt with his grandchildren. He respects the law. He doesn't violate the law. He's not going to possess a firearm without this gold seal pardon. However, those are the two fundamental reasons why he's applying today. We are not trying to say he didn't plead guilty. We're not trying to say he had a right to go over to that hotel. And he has thusly pled guilty as a result.
May I add something short?
Sure.
That incident left me, after I got out of jail, they repossessed my brain. They repossessed all of my stuff. I had to move into a tent into the room. But 3 kids through college, one of them is a narcotic. I do not have any disregard for the law. My dad was a policeman. My brother was a sheriff's deputy for 25 years. I'm full of law enforcement. I raised my children with respect and honor. And I paid for their colleges in full. And I did right by my children. It wasn't until after that I was able to save money and then restore
my home, my cars. I had to file bankruptcy for over $500,000. I've been through the ringer. I have fought this felony on my name. Y'all have no clue how hard it is, Elaine, and people know, to even make an honest dollar. But the CEO of the company that I work for absolutely loved me like a son. And he retired, and his son became the CEO and drew the line. And he says, we're not gonna continue down this path. You have got to get that part for you to be attorney. And I don't know what else to do. I've been the whole field my whole life.
Got you. Okay, let me ask, well, I just want to bring some up. I mean, for a while there, I thought I was losing my mind, but you did fight with two different people and you had knives with two different times.
Two different incidents.
Right. So, I mean, this isn't your first, it wasn't your first rodeo. Okay, I have.
Broussard and Youngsville.
Let me ask this.
It was St. Martinsville and Youngsville, yes,
Right.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that was her another one of her
Let me ask.
Okay, let me,
Well, go ahead and ask. Mr. Schrader.
it says additional, in the report, it says that, surveillance footage showed you arriving at the hotel, retrieving a knife and attacking as soon as the door opened.
And so there's there was a camera on the second floor that recorded everything.
Okay, so that's wrong. Okay, I mean, you and the report conflict. Okay, back to the deal, because what we have to decide is if you are trustworthy and not the kind of fellow that's gonna hurt somebody else, especially when we deal with firearms. But there's two different times that you were armed with a knife, according to the report. According to the report, and that you attacked a fellow named Michael Boute and Timothy Patton, P-A-T-I-N. The Timothy Patton was at the Comfort Inn, the Michael Boute was at an apartment. According to the reports, I wasn't there.
Okay, his name is Rachel Boutte, and I didn't have a knife. But Kay is a master of using law enforcement as a tool in her arsenal. I didn't know that until later.
Okay.
The knife that it was in the second incident was a pocket knife this big that was down deep in my pocket and it was never pulled out. Not one time.
Okay, I wasn't there, and I appreciate you telling me that, and I'll weigh that against what's in the report.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But no, and that's what happened was,
Okay.
when I got to Youngsville, months after the stabbing deal, and I told my attorney, she keeps going in my house while I'm offshore. My mom has dementia, so she stays at my mom's. My mom, every time she sees her, it's a new day, right? So she don't remember. So she loves Kate, so she just let her stay. Well, Kate broke into the house and she stole my billfold with my checkbook in it. And she was writing $1,000 hot checks. The clerk at the store went to the DA's office to explain to them that I did not write these checks.
Okay.
She did. When they told her, I'm responsible for it.
Okay, we're chasing
got a
rats
question.
here, that's all I got.
All right, you said that when you opened the door, the man stabbed you in the mouth
Yes, ma'am.
and you got all those injuries and you pulled the knife out of your mouth and you ended up in the jail. How long did you end up in the hospital from that incident?
I went straight to the hospital.
How long were you in there?
1 day.
1 day.
Enough of them to stitch me up.
Oh, okay. So now another thing is, we talked about, it was brought up about Mr. Boute. In the police report, it said he was severely injured and covered in blood.
Okay, I don't know what report you read, but the report I read,
From the police report.
yeah, he wasn't severely injured because they called, they actually, they wanted him to call the ambulance and he denied medical treatment.
Okay, the police report has different than you. And then another one is that also Mr. Patan, that they
That's
just
the
like,
person.
yeah, they
That was the
talked
same
about the
article.
same thing.
Yes, ma'am, it's the same charge with,
And then you talked about in the beginning that you saw a film with her with somebody else and everything, so that would be,
that's
this
what.
may be a jealousy and you called her infidelity and stuff like that, so that puts the person in a rage too. A man
I was
or,
offshore.
well, you came home
And
and you
went out
violated
the
protective
bush
orders and stuff.
I went the next day about, I was doing things legally.
Okay, all right, that, I don't have any further questions.
The, so with Mitch, Butte, not Michael Butte, there was no knife incident, with Mitch. What happened was, he had called me up, and I did not know he was with Kay. He called me up and he asked me for a ride to the store, so he didn't have a vehicle. My grandson was first born, I was in Youngsville. At the time, I got the call from, I was leaving out of the driveway when he called, and I said, shoot, I'll go give him a ride to the store. So I went to the milk and I brought him to the store, got a cigarette. And he went back, he said, well, get out for a second. So I said, okay, so I got down. When I walked in, he opened up the door. When I walked in, Kay walked out from behind the petition. And I said, what are you doing here? And I said, what did you pay him? He hit me. So when he hit me, I turned around and I pushed him down. And I told her, I said, I don't know what you got planned. But whenever he hit me, she ran outside, she called 911. On the 911 tape, I don't know what she told him, but she left the recorder on, she stuck it in her back pocket. She left the phone on with 911 so they could hear it. And she kept telling him, why'd you hit my husband? Don't hit my husband. Why'd you hit my husband? And he didn't answer. So the police were already on their way and I didn't know it. And when I walked out, he was behind me. And they pulled up and they drew guns on me and told me to drop the knife. I said, wait a minute, I don't have a knife. And so they said, come walk towards us. And I said, okay. With my hands in the air, I walked toward me and put me on the truck, on the hood of the truck and told me to strap. And I found a little bitty pocket knife in my pocket. And I was like, that doesn't. I didn't think. I really.
So let's move on. So you refer to Kay, and in our record, she's referred to as Lolian.
All right, so
Jovan?
everybody calls her Kay. Her name is Lolian K. Marsalis.
Okay. Do you have you had any contact with her?
No.
Have you had any contact with her since all this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Mr. Brogard, anything you want to add?
Yes, ma'am, very briefly. There has been no domestic arrests since these, and it's been approximately 10 years. No restraining orders, no allegation that he did any violent act with a firearm. Our law is, and I hesitate to argue this, our law is a funny thing. He can possess a knife when he walks outside this building, gets in his car. He's not trying to possess a knife. He's trying to get a pardon so that he can possess a firearm and also save his job. That said, he clearly pled guilty to these crimes. He's clearly guilty of these crimes. I don't want the board to think that he is trying to skirt responsibility. I do think it's evident based on what we've seen since he did his debt to society, including getting terminated from probation 2 years early. I think it is evident that he is someone that can function in society without us needing to be worried about him. He's shown that, he's proven, and that would be what I would ask the board to consider in making a decision.
Okay, thank you, sir. I don't see any other questions, Mr. Freeman. You prepared to vote?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, yeah, this a case was very, very confusing with, my vote today is gonna be to deny too much violence in his past history and law enforcement opposition.
Mr. Tillis,
My vote is gonna be to grant
with or without?
with firearms.
Mrs. Stapleton?
My vote is gonna be deny, and a couple of statements. The chief of police in 2025 of Natchitoches says, "I'm concerned with the violent nature and threat of force that resulted in numerous charges and subsequent convictions." Then you've got the DA in the 16th JDC said, "Mr. Russo has a history of domestic offense in multiple parishes, which does not seem compatible with restoration of firearms." And Sheriff Bro in St. Martin said, "Because of the offender's previous history, I am opposing this request." So,
Mr. Prater?
My vote is to recommend that we deny this. Think he got just a history of making bad decisions, and some of them, the ones we're talking about today, have been violent bad decisions. So, deny.
All right, so Mr. Russo, one favorable recommendation, but you got 3 votes to deny your application, so that's the outcome today.
Yes, ma'am.
Good one. All right, good morning. Yes, still morning. So, Ms. Brown, would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and current mailing address.
Allison Brown, Copeland's my married name, 215 Country Park Drive, Mansfield, Louisiana, 70592.
Okay. And you are here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms for a conviction in Lafayette Parish, July 2016, possession of Schedule II. You received a 2-year sentence that was suspended. You were placed on 18 months probation. And was that then extended to the full 5 years?
No, ma'am. I completed probation, early termination.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Your case this morning has been assigned to Mr. Prater. I'm gonna just turn it over to him. Thank you.
Good morning, Allison. How are you?
how are you?
Okay, we're here to discuss something that you want to get a pardon for. And what exactly are those charges?
Possession of Schedule 2.
Okay.
Would you like for me to tell you about the circumstances behind that, or?
No, just I've got all the police reports and all. I just want to make sure that I want to hear you say what you're wanting us to recommend a pardon.
Possession Schedule 2.
Okay, is that the only thing that you end up being convicted of?
Yes.
Okay, they dropped the paraphernalia and meth, marijuana, or was it meth or marijuana you were charged with Schedule 2? So
Schedule 2 is Adderall.
yeah,
I know that there was a paraphernalia charge, which I got time served. It was a misdemeanor. So it was in conjunction with that charge.
okay, so it was Adderall Schedule 2.
Yes, correct.
Okay, all right, and how many times have you been arrested prior to that?
I would say probably around 5 or 6.
Prior to the one you're asking for the pardon?
That was the one I'm asking for a pardon for was that was about the end. There was only one after that.
Okay, and tell me about the history. What were you arrested for prior to that? Tell me about that incident and since then. And you don't have to spend a lot of time, just kind of go over it.
Okay. My first arrest was in Harris County, Texas. That was a possession Schedule 2. That was about 16 years ago.
That was in 2010.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I had credit for time served with that one. Some years later, I tried to get on the straight and narrow. I did not. And so then I started getting arrested in Louisiana. I know that I had two OWIs. No, just one OWI. There was another possession charge. I'd gotten a possession at the airport. I absconded a lot. So whenever I would get out on probation and plea, I didn't have an intention to fulfill that until I finally did. So I was picked up on a lot of warrants, but otherwise the OWI and possession charge. And then there was a monetary instrument abuse charge towards the end. I think that was also summer of 2016, wherein I found a debit card on the side of the ground and I opened up a tab at a bar.
Okay.
I struggled with substance use issues for a while.
Okay, and the 2016 deal, that's kind of the end of the road, right?
Correct, yes.
And what caused you to, and I noticed, and I want to tell you, I appreciate all of the information you filled out. You were so truthful, it made you look worse than I thought you were. But you were so truthful, and I appreciate that. I wish everybody was like that, because we always know there's another side to the story. But in your case, you told us the other side, I believe. But thank you for being so truthful on that. What caused you to straighten up, and why do you need this pardon, and why do you need a restoration of firearms?
What caused me to get better? I know, like logistically, I was at the end of my rope with Lafayette Parish Correctional, and so I think it was a revocation hearing. They said, if you mess up, you're going to prison. Like, there's no more jail for you. And so prison, like, I had gotten used to going to jail at that point, and I knew it was just a consequence for my daily living. I was living illegally, and that was eventually I was going to get arrested, go back, and it's just how it went. Prison was something I was unfamiliar with, and I was frightened. Also, at some point, I had intermittently had moments where I wanted to get sober and do the right thing, and that just didn't always line up with my circumstances. So by the time I got arrested in July, I had the opportunity to apply for sheriff's rehab. And so I tried that in July. I did not complete, got out, and then I went back in on an arrest charge September 22nd, 2016. That was the end. That is when I finally got sober. And what had happened between my release July 5th of 2016 and my rearrest in September 22nd, 2016 was I was desperate, I was sad, I was eaten up on the inside by everything I had done to everyone in my life. My family, my friends, my children that I had abandoned, all for substance use. I didn't even think twice about it, and I had nothing left. And the guilt and shame that accompanied all of those external circumstances was enough to get me to a point where I've got to kill myself or something has to happen. Like something huge has to happen. And that's when the rehab opportunity came up again. And I said, you know, I'm going to give this one my all. Whatever they want from me, I'm going to do it because everything I've tried has failed. And this just keeps getting worse.
Okay. All right. And what kind of, we'll get into that in a minute, maybe. I want to know how you're maintaining your sobriety. But before we do that, I want to hear from, you got three people that want to speak on your behalf. Darcy Bird, Joanna Wittenberg, and Pam Russo. And I might challenge you. Are you going to speak also?
Yes.
Well, we just need three people to speak. So we're going to have to cut somebody off the list.
That's fine.
So you are Ashley,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So who do you want to cut off? I'll make you the bad guy.
Pam, you say
We got a couple volunteers.
Okay, I'll cut off Pam then. Sorry, thank you, Pam.
Okay. Pam's gone. Okay, let's see, Darcy Bird, let's hear from you first, Darcy, and just take a few minutes and just tell us. I think you're Zooming, correct?
Yes. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today on behalf of Ms. Copeland or Allison. As I mentioned in my letter of support, Ms. Copeland has been employed with 15 JDC since 2018. Since she started with the court, she has held multiple positions, including a certified recovery coach, case manager for family preservation and the prevention track, as well as sobriety court. She has also served as a mentor for the juvenile drug court. She is currently enrolled to be in the counselor and training program, which is also extremely beneficial for our programs. In addition to being Ms. Copeland's supervisor, I consider her a close friend. Over the last 8 years, I have had the opportunity to watch Ms. Copeland grow both professionally and personally. I watched her ride her bike to and from work in the rain while she saved money to buy a car, move from sober living to her own home, complete her bachelor's and master's degree at UL, and get married. We all make mistakes, but not everyone takes responsibility. Ms. Copeland has always accepted full responsibilities for her mistakes, enabling her to become the best version of herself. Thank you for letting me speak today.
Thank you. And just for the record, and so because the video was kind of messed up, Ms. Bird, would you tell us what is your position? I don't want to miss that.
I'm the coordinator for Family Preservation Court and Family Preservation Court, the Prevention Track, and the 15th JDC.
Okay, so you actually work for the court system, as does she, since 2018, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when you refer to Ms. Copeland, we're referring to her as Ms. Brown, but you're married.
I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you. Wanted to clear those 2 points up. All right, let's talk to Joanna. Joanna, are you on the air?
Yes, sir, I am. Thank you so much for allowing us all to speak. Allison has, as we put it for our clients, put in the work, and she's done amazing. And she is a good and positive role model for most of our clients, you know, who are going through the same things that she went through. That's really all I have.
Okay. Well, that's enough. I wish everybody was as short.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right, and now we'll hear from the famous Miss Ashley Copeland. Miss Copeland, would you tell us about your significant other? Would you go to the podium, please?
Yes, sure. She's my wife. We met in Alcoholics Anonymous, so I am sober as well. I've been sober for 8.5 years. And I was drawn to her from her love of the program, her desire to grow, her commitment to helping other women. We both had that fire lit in us that we just wanted to work a great program and help other people. And my love for her is from that. And I've watched her over the last 6 years. Just every year she changes and she grows and she's just kind like Darcy said, everything so good, that she rode her bike, she did these things, and she's just taking responsibility for everything she's done. And, you know, she's devoted her life to this now, like, this is what she does for her job, but she does it in her personal life, like, I live with her, like, she carries this into her everyday life, she works with other women, she helps women find the solution, the way that she's walked through, and takes and uses the experience that she went through to help other people and show them that there's another way of life and that there's a solution. And I just admire her. I admire her so much, and she has so many women back home that look up to her and admire her as well. So.
Thank you very much for your comments. Okay, Ms. Brown, Copeland, I think that we've heard, I was going to ask what you do to maintain your sobriety.
Well, I think we know.
From your job and your education that you work for and everything else. I hate to be such a softball interviewer, but the record speaks for itself in your case. And so I don't have any other questions.
Any questions?
So what are you doing, or what did you do to these drugs? You had a lot of failures with this drug, you kept going back.
Yes, so, you know, my journey started with alcohol and eventually I needed more than that. So then it was pills and then it was, you know, cocaine, and then eventually we went to like heroin and meth. And I just couldn't get out of it. And I struggled, and it's like, I would get off of most of the things, but I would continue to drink. And it was only a matter of time before it led to the same spot where I'm doing the hard stuff, with nobody in my life, going back to jail, with no one to call, no one to write to, because I've everybody was calling. And so it's just like, that was the pattern for 10 years, starting in 2010.
Your last relapse was when?
My last relapse, July 5th, 2016. My sobriety date is September 22nd, 2016.
So what are the chances of relapsing again?
You know, 20 things that people in AA say, but for the grace of God, there go I. I don't think I could guarantee anybody's sobriety for the rest of their life. I can say that every day I wake up and I work this program like it's life or death. I never stopped doing the things that I did in the beginning. Working with a sponsor, working with sponsees, attending meetings, doing service work, being there for my community. And, you know, I've gone through parts of my life that have been hectic or full, and like, maybe I didn't want to do all these things, but I continue doing all these things because I know the instant I stop, I will then become vulnerable for relapse.
Where are your kids?
My kids, actually, I co-parent with my cousin-in-law. They're in Church Point. I had absolutely no relationship with them at all. Over the years, that's been such a gift. They're back in my life. They spend weekends with us. So they're much.
You spend time with them, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, time no questions.
I was gonna say, so you work for the JDC?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the name and the program that seems so successful, is it similar to AA or a combination?
The program I work for?
Yeah, that helped you get through this, and what they were talking about, family preservation?
I would say I was helped through this with AA.
Okay.
Family preservation court is a treatment court program that helps parents with open DCFS cases due to substance use disorder.
Okay.
And so what I do in my job is I help these parents get connected with resources that will keep them sober, much like I did.
Yes.
Whenever I went through, probation, shares, rehab. So all the things I tell my clients to do, I tell them because I've done them and it worked for me. And I told them, this is the only reason I'm sober now, 10 years later almost. It's because I'm doing the things I'm asking you to do.
Thank you very much.
All right, I don't see any other questions. We're ready to vote, Mr. Craig.
Okay, my vote is to recommend to the governor that you receive a full pardon with restoration of firearms because of the fact you have no violence in your history, the length of time since your arrest, and the fact that you constantly work in rehab personally and professionally in that same field, and seem like you're doing fine, and I wish you well.
Mr. Freeman?
I agree totally with Mr. Prater. You're doing excellent. You're the type of people we need talking to the younger people. So, and it is a struggle, so keep battling. My vote is to grant. I'm sorry, with restoration.
Mr. Tillis?
We're gonna vote to grant
With,
without firearms.
okay. Ms. Stapleton?
My vote today is to grant with firearms. I'm very proud of you. And unlike the rest of people that, that spoke, I wish you every success in this.
So you got 4 favorable votes. So, you did get 1 that was without restoration of firearms, but you did get 3 that, include that recommendation. So on your behalf, we'll make the recommendation for a pardon with restoration of firearms. Good luck to you. Welcome. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address, please.
My name is Kirsten Walters. My current address is 301 South 26th Street, Monroe, Louisiana, 71201.
And for our purposes, we have you as Kirsten Jones.
Correct.
So you have another new name.
Yes, I went back to my maiden.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're here today. Oh, well, let me first acknowledge you have a friend with you, Brian, who wants to speak on your behalf, and we'll call on you shortly to do so. So, Ms. Jones, you're here seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You have a conviction in Washita Parish.
Yes.
You were sentenced March 2015 for possession of hydrocodone. You received a 3-year sentence that was suspended. You were placed on 3 years probation.
Correct.
Is correct? Okay, your case this morning has been assigned to Mrs. Stapleton, so I'm going to turn it over to her.
Sorry, I was still typing, excuse me. Case now, Christian Jones, okay. All right, will you please tell me, what caused you to come here today? And, why are you seeking a pardon?
Okay. In 2014, I believe. I was rightfully charged for possession of Schedule 3 narcotic. And I was fully aware of what was going on. And I take full responsibility of what happened. I take full responsibility of what happened. Since then, my life has changed. I have 4 children. I have for 10 years, I've worked for Mr. Bale Company. I started as a regular secretary. And I have grown the company. I worked my way up in the company. I was able to get my license. I am a licensed marijuana agent. I own my own food truck company, which is, I got that in 2023. It's called the Perfect Kitchen. I also have a small transportation service that I started last year. I just received my 501c3. And I am going to be helping young troubled children. showing them that there is a different way. I'm very active in the church. Yeah, I'm not the woman that I used to be. I have grown. And I am seeking another chance because I want to get this behind me. I have a lot going on, great things going on, and it's only gonna get better. And, I just want to get this thing behind me.
Yeah, you are busy. You do have a lot going on. You really do. I see that the man that was involved in this situation, he was your husband, correct, at the time? Yeah. So, how long after this incident did you divorce him?
We got divorced, in 2014, the end of that year.
Okay, so right away after that happened.
Yeah.
And what have you done? I mean, what was your method of getting clean? Did you use them? I know that
I did.
they were on you.
I did. I just quit.
Cold turkey.
Cold turkey. That's not something that I want to do. I have children. I need my mind to function. I don't need something that's gonna take control over my mind. I have to be in control of that. I don't want it. And I have been playing for, oh my goodness, since about 2015.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we're talking 11 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. And since that time you started your business, I heard you talk about that, and now you want to get a 501c3. Would the felony prevent you from getting a 501c3?
I have it.
Oh, you have it
I have
already.
it.
So now you're going to use it to help troubled children.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
It's called Salt Shaping Our Future Teenagers.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I have it.
Well, I don't have any further questions. Does anyone else?
I have one. How do you have time to do all that?
I formed a team. I can't do it alone, but I do. I stay busy. I can do it, but I.
Oh,
do
I have no
a
doubt. I
team.
like your positive attitude, and I was just kind of joking with you. That's a lot, but congratulations on all that.
So I'm saying,
I got one question. I always like to look at the dynamics of something like this. So you made it all the way to Houston and all the way back to Monroe,
Mhm.
and you got arrested.
Yep, and we were almost at home. Almost home.
You realize God had something to do with that.
Can I elaborate on that?
Sure.
Yeah.
He had everything to do with that, and
Yep.
I thank him for that.
Good,
I
good.
thank him for that because that changed my life.
Good deal. That's all I had.
All right, I think we're ready to vote, Mrs. Stapleton.
Wait, we didn't hear from the son.
He decided he
Decided
decided.
not to participate.
So I didn't hear that part.
Okay, well, I'm very proud of him. And clearly, you're doing a lot, we do a lot, doing a lot, we get a lot. So my vote today is to recommend to the governor to grant your pardon with restoration of firearms. I wish you every good fortune.
Mr. Prater.
I concur, grant full pardon with restoration of firearms, and congratulations on your growth.
Mr. Freeman
Same for me. I ran with bombs.
and Mr. Tillis.
You gotta go straight, huh?
I'm straight.
My vote is to grant.
And I do agree. So on your behalf, we're going to make that recommendation to the governor. Good luck to you. All right, Mr. Alexander. You're still on mute.
Yes, ma'am.
There you are. So, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address.
My name is Aaron Joseph Alexander Senior, mailing address 507 Lewis Street, Lewis, St. Martinville, Louisiana, 70582.
All right, thank you, sir. And you're here today. You're seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You are sentenced in St. Martin Parish, January of 1999 for distribution of marijuana. You received a deferred sentence and 5 years probation.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Tillis. I'm gonna turn it over to him, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Mr. Alexander, how are you?
I'm all right, and yourself?
Good. Tell us what happened and why you need a pardon.
I was young at the time, you know, I made a mistake.
Were you at the time?
I'm sorry.
How old were you? You said you were young. How old were you?
This happened in 1996. I guess I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
Maybe about 23, 24, something in that area. You know, made a mistake and got caught. I did everything I was asked to do. And the reason I'm asking for a pardon is because I work in the oil field and been there for 28 years. And at this point, we're integrating PSLs. So when I first started there, you know, and I was convicted or whatever, and I explained it to them, they said I was a good worker and they wanted to keep me. So they moved me to a PSL that didn't work with, which was borehole seismic, that didn't work with explosives or radiation. Okay, well now they're starting to integrate PSLs to where they don't have to search for a certain employee to do a certain job. One person can do all jobs. So in that case, I need a blaster's license to be able to do case tool work with explosives. At this point, I have everything else. I have my I have hazmat, class A CDL driver. I have my passport. I can do everything except for that. So I'm applying for a pardon to be able to apply for a blaster's license and to be able to work in all PSLs so I can keep my job.
So when you were doing drugs, you were using drugs or selling drugs?
Yes, sir. I have smoked marijuana, and I was convicted of distribution.
Did you take any treatment for it?
No, sir. I mean, once I got convicted, you're put on parole and you have to take drug tests. You have to pass certain requirements. So I just quit. It's either quit or go to jail, right?
Yeah. You didn't have any problems while you were on parole then?
No, sir. I fulfilled everything that I was supposed to.
Okay, I have no more questions.
Any other questions?
Questions?
I don't see any questions. What does PSL stand for?
I'm not sure what it stands for exactly, but it's different, what I'm looking. Different groups in one entity. Like you have a case tool department, open hole department, and a borehole seismic department. I started off in case tool, and then when all this happened, I was moved over to I started off in case tool, and at that time we were told that you could cross train. So I figured the more I know, the more of an asset I am to the company. If any layoffs go on, they would keep me because I can do more than the next person. So I learned open hole. Then this happened, and I was transferred to borehole seismic. So I learned all PSLs. Now I can work across all PSLs, but without a blaster's license, I'm short.
It's okay. I got it. I think we're ready to vote, Mr. Tillis.
My vote is going to be to grant with firearms.
Mrs. Stapleton?
My vote to grant with firearms.
Mr. Prater?
Grant with firearms.
Mr. Freeman?
Grant with firearms.
And my vote is the same. So we're going to make the recommendation on your behalf, Mr. Alexander, for full pardon with restoration of firearms.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank everybody. Appreciate it.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us your name and your current mailing address, please.
My name is Roy Raymond Benjamin Jr. My current mailing address is 1112 Garfield Street in Westlake, Louisiana, 70669.
And do you have another device running YouTube in the background?
Yes.
Can you mute that because we're getting feedback?
Okay. We both just operate off of mine.
Yeah, that's your wife there with you. Yeah, she can just kind of move over in front of the camera whenever we're ready for her. So and you have counsel also on Zoom, sir. Would you enter your name for the record?
Yes, this is Attorney Rhett Span on behalf of Mr. Roy Benjamin.
All right, thank you, sir. And as we said, Mr. Benjamin's wife, Ms. Tanisha, is there with him and wants to speak on his behalf, and we'll ask him to do so. We also have the pastor, Henry Williams, who wishes to speak. We do have also on Zoom today, we do have opposition representing the victim, and we'll call on Ms. Kimberly Jackson at the appropriate time also. So let me just read some identifying information into the record, Mr. Benjamin, and then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Freeman because your case has been assigned to him. So you're here today, you're seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms. You were sentenced in Calcasieu Parish, let's see, March 2014 for indecent behavior with a juvenile. You received a 5-year DOC sentence, and all but 2 years were suspended and you were placed on 5 years probation. Does that sound correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Freeman?
Okay, Mr. Benjamin, tell me, what did you do to get yourself put in jail? And that got yourself in trouble? And then tell me what you've done since that you feel you deserve a pardon.
Okay. Heavy drug use led me to make poor decisions to perform oral sex on someone who was younger than I. Since my release, well, that's what got me into this situation. Since my release, I've been really just removing myself from the arena that made me feel like it was okay to use drugs and stuff like that. So I've been working a lot on the road, pushing myself to get many certifications in the iron and rigging industry. I have entered supervision, just trying to keep my nose clean with for my family. Trying to continue to be a positive figure in the lives of my daughters. I recently was married February 7th to my wife, and I've been back to Mr. Terry's office a few times to help counsel those below me, but also counseling those who are younger than me on the job sites. I've started a trucking company that I'm trying to get off the ground, Roy Benjamin Transportation Services, LLC, and I'm just maintaining my productiveness as a citizen. I'm looking for this pardon for the sake of my daughters, who I now plan on getting along with my wife. We plan on moving to Virginia, which leads me to the job industry. A lot of naval shipyards, submarine contracts, things like that. So I would need to seek some level of security clearance. I've learned down here that just being on registration alone can hinder you from getting a job. Just the status alone. And so I'm trying to positively continue progressing forward through all that, and just make a better life for my family. I'm seeking gun rights. Like I said, I was just recently married February 7th. My father-in-law, my father, they hunt. And I'm just trying to immerse myself into different things, continue to immerse myself into different things that would just keep me grounded.
And when does your registration expire? How long you have to register and notify for?
They have me till 30. But I'm at my 10-year this year. So in November, I'll be petitioning the court to be relieved of registration early.
Okay. Did you serve prison time or you put on probation?
I served 2 years pending the trial. In 2000, I received my conviction in 2014. The situation happened in 13, and I was released in 15.
Okay. And then when did you get off probation? In 2019?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and your probation was closed unsat because of a positive drug screen. What have you done to make you get off of drugs? What are you doing now to stay away from drugs?
I stay connected to God. I think about the things that I can lose. My wife, my children, the possibility to have my children under my roof, my freedom. And that's just no longer the life that I live anymore.
Did you do you drink at all?
Do I drink?
Yes.
No, sir. No, sir.
And did you have to go to any treatment to get off drugs, or you just kicked it yourself?
I went to of course I had the treatment to that I was the judge ordered me to with Mr. Terry. I did that treatment. I completed that treatment. I'm not gonna say that was strictly drug related, but it was all included. And then I also attended another before I failed the drug screen, I attended another little drug screen, not a drug screen, a drug rehabilitation program. It only lasted like 3 weeks, and that was through probation and parole.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Let's let your wife, Miss Tanisha Benjamin.
Hello.
Tell us what you want us to know about your husband.
Okay, well, first, I just like to start off saying, but he's a wonderful, God-fearing man. This offense was 12 and a half years ago. And at first, I would like to say we were high school sweethearts. So I knew him back from high school. And of course, we went our separate ways from the military, and our families went separate ways. Our families are very close. So we've known each other for 27 years. So I do know Roy. I know his character, I know the person that he is and the person that he wants to be. I'm sorry, I lost where I was in the camera. I'm sorry, I'm just a little nervous. I was expecting to be in person. I came down from Virginia for this, but I'd like to read something to you as well. I'm presenting to you with humility and sincere respect as you consider the circumstances surrounding my husband's offense, which, as I stated, was 12 and a half years ago. I do understand the seriousness of the matter before you, and I do not seek to minimize the impact of his actions, but instead, I just hope to share with you that the person he has become since then. Over the past 12 years, my husband has carried a deep remorse for the incident that occurred the one time. He has taken full responsibility and actions, and he's worked so hard to grow and to maintain his health and to be a better man. He is committed to his integrity, accountability, and being a positive presence, not only in the lives of his family, but also for his coworkers and people around him. Time has not erased the past, but it has shaped his perspective and strengthened him to resolve and live life differently. As his spouse, I have witnessed firsthand his effort to live a God-centered life. He's dedicated himself to being a productive and wonderful father and a leader at home and in the workplace. He strives each day to make choices that reflect the lessons he has learned and the value he now holds firmly. And I'm just asking with sincere hope that you all on the pardon board consider not just his past, but also the growth, remorse, and the commitment for a better future for him and for all of us as a productive citizen that he is. Your understanding and compassion would mean more than words can express. And it would allow him the opportunity to continue building a meaningful and safe life for us, for him and our family. Thank you for your time and letting me speak, and thank you for your thoughtful consideration.
Hey, thank you for being here. Okay,
You're
now
welcome.
let's hear from Henry Williams, pastor.
Good morning to the court. I'm grateful and honored for the opportunity to speak on behalf of someone who's not only a friend, a brother of mine. I also worked alongside of him. So I met Roy in 2016. We were working in, I think we was in Lake Charles, Louisiana, doing industrial construction. He was just getting started out. So me and him was in the basket together. I ended up moving to a house that was connected to the house he was in. And so we became friends, and he worked with me. He even shared this incident with me. Once, we started going to church together. He seen I was saved, preaching the gospel on the job site. So he was like, hey, I need to be around you, bro, and we connected like that. We started going to church together, worshiping God together. And I seen God start really moving in his heart. And so as time went by, we finished that job, we completed it, and I left and went to a different place from him. But we stayed in contact. And so when I would talk to him, I always would check on, hey man, how you doing? Hey bro, what you got going on? And he didn't never have to lie to me, because I also, in my past, had been incarcerated for doing wrong. And God saved me in prison and transformed my life. And now I'm a youth pastor, I'm a business owner. I speak in schools all over the nation now, teaching, peer pressure, gang, drugs, gun violence. So I deal with those things on an everyday basis. And so I began to share with him, back and forth on the phone call, and, just checking on him, making sure, that he's okay. He's in the word, in his word. We'll talk about scripture. Is he going to church? Is he still, functioning, as a man of God should function? And he was. And so coming up, I think it was like December, he told me he was going to get married. I was very excited about it. And he asked me would I marry him. And I was like, oh man, wow. So I came down, I counseled him and his wife. We married them in New Orleans in February 2007, which was a beautiful, awesome engagement. But this is what I saw about Roy that showed me he had changed, because of the way here's the thing about change. A person can make a decision, especially being under the influence, because I've been under the influence before in my life. I was on crack cocaine. So when you're under the influence, you don't think about consequences. You don't think about really what's going on. You just want that moment. But when sobriety comes and God comes in your life, you look at that mistake and you say, oh, wow, man, that was me. I don't want that to happen to anybody else. And I definitely don't want to ever have that happen in my life. And so I seen transformation in his life, and how I know I seen on the job site as he grew, he got promoted 2 times. Not only from just a regular journeyman starting off, as a regular worker starting off, he excelled to a journeyman. From a journeyman, he became a foreman. And as from a foreman, he became a general foreman. Now, the thing about that is this, that in order to have those positions, your character, you have to have a certain type of character. You have to be stability. You have to have stability, a certain type of character. You have to be able to deal with pressure. You have to deal with people's personalities. And so your temper and so forth. And I really seen him really excel. His crew excels. They respect him. We talk a lot, when he at work, I'll call, he'd be at work getting it in. And so I'm very, very proud of him. This is what I want to say as a man of God. I'm very proud of the man who he has become. I talk to his wife. He talks to me. He shares intimate, detailed things with me. And I'm very proud that here's the thing I learned about, and I'll be done. He holds up for the responsibility of his mistakes. That's what you look for. A man who will hold up for their mistakes and then not make them again and learn from them. Because I'm sure as I sit here and some of you sit there, you've made mistakes, maybe not to break the law, but you've made mistakes just like we have. And so I thank you for the opportunity to represent him. I thank you, Roy, for the opportunity to stand up for you, brother. I love you, and I thank you, the court, for the opportunity to speak on his behalf. May God bless you.
Thank you. Okay, now let's hear from his attorney, Mr. Spano.
Yes, good morning, board. That is a tough act to follow, a wife and a pastor. So I'm going to be brief. I think that Pastor Williams and his wife have said about all that you can say, and having done a number of these with the board as well as parole, answered probably most of the questions that you all have when you're trying to make the hard decision to make a recommendation for clemency for someone, especially when it involves an underage victim and it is a sex crime. Those some of the toughest calls to make for you guys. And I hope that you've heard from his wife. She spoke about his character and about the desire to do well by his family, by his two daughters. And I'm sure he looks at his daughters now and the regret that he feels for what he did 12 and a half years ago really resonates with him. As somebody who's got a 3.5-year-old daughter, I do that quite often, wondering, hey, what kind of men is she going to encounter and how is she going to be treated by them? So I know Mr. Benjamin deals with that on a daily basis as a reminder for what he did. He to me, it seems he checks all the boxes. He's remorseful for what he's done. He realizes what he was doing in his life at that time that left him open to these to this horrible choice. And he's done what he can to be accountable, to transform himself, to be a different person, not just for himself and his family, but also for other people that he doesn't even know that well, coworkers and whatnot. So I think that the board can find some, I would not say comfort, that's not the word I'm looking for, but some reassurance at least in some of these things that have been talked about in deciding whether or not to give the recommendation. He's, you know, was terminated unsatisfactory on probation, but I have the court minutes and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I really see just the one positive drug screen. So, I realize it's probation. You shouldn't be doing drugs at all, but it doesn't appear that he was, did horribly on probation, and I could be wrong about that. But nevertheless, he's over these last years, he's done what he needs to do to put that past behind him and move forward. And I would hope that the board would see all of these things and take them into account and grant his application for clemency. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go and hear from Miss Kimberly Jackson, victim's mother.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Hello.
Good.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Jackson, and I just from hearing what was being said. As for me, maybe I would be a little bit more toward his way if there was help. If there ever, he says remorse. Where's the remorse? You haven't even apologized for what you've done. We was friends. Matter of fact, I am also the godmother of his daughter. You know, so even if it didn't come from him, it was more ways than one that he could have apologized for what he done. For one, two, I haven't. If you was really serious about what you've done, where are the drug? You know, you'd took more in. He'd have stepped more into doing drug classes, what you call them. So how do we know for sure that the drug is done? You say since the drugs is what made him to do this to my daughter. You see what I'm saying? I worry about the years. I've worried about my goddaughter, but that's his daughter. I couldn't do nothing about that. But my thing is this: for one, why would you need a gun? You know, you being now a sex offender, a high level, and you haven't did anything or not even enough to prove that you'll never do this again. So how do I know if you get a gun? How I know you're not going to do it? This time you got a little bit more leverage over just offering to buy something. often to buy a kid something to get what you want. You see what I'm saying? I have a problem with that. Either he haven't did enough to prove that he was serious about his freedom, serious about not doing this again. There's no, I mean, those two little, that's because they made him to. If he was really, to me, if he was serious about it, he'd have took it upon his own to get into more drug classes to stay off the drugs. And if he failed a drug test for the probation, okay, come on, that is obviously you can't do it by yourself. So if you were serious about it, you would seek help from everywhere there is. And the only thing I worry about, the same thing that happened to my daughter could happen to his girls, let alone somebody else's kids.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't figure he need a gun. You don't need a gun to protect your family. There's too many ways to protect your family. You know what I'm saying? All that look like is you looking for something. You looking for a way to make it a little bit to scare these kids even more to get what you want. And he had more ways than one to apologize. So obviously you couldn't be remorsed about what you did.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
I did want to say one thing, just for information purposes. Should your daughter need any kind of counseling or anything like that, it's available through Crime Victims Reparations, and probably they have a STAR program. So, you know.
Well, after the year, I'm sorry. Yeah, after the year after it happened, I did seek on getting her counseling. She's actually 27 now, but you know, it's still there. The pain is still there. And you know, when I don't get me wrong, I apologized to my daughter for him, even though there wasn't an apology that never came about. But you know, because she was a kid, she didn't know better, and being a friend of the family that we would have never imagined that it would happen. Right. Now it just makes me aware of who I didn't be my friends, or however, because at that time we considered him to be family, not just friends. We considered him to be family, and this is what happened.
Okay, well, well, unfortunately, that's how it generally happens. So, if your daughter does need counseling, it would cost her anything to go through Crime Victims Reparations, even at this age. I just wanted to make sure that y'all know about that. Thank you for your comments.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Freeman.
Okay, the panel's ready to vote. All right, Mr. Benjamin, we've heard a lot. You're doing very, very well. I congratulate you on your new marriage.
Thank you.
But you still have registration left, and I'm not gonna do away with the registration. And if I give you this clemency, then it could be gone, the pardon. So, my vote today is gonna be to deny. I think you need to finish your registration out before you get any, form of relief.
Mr. Tillis.
My vote also is to deny.
Mrs. Stapleton.
My vote is to deny, and you do have opposition, but the DA from Calcasieu Parish, he wrote, the offender failed to complete the required sex offender counseling, resulting in his probation being terminated. Satisfactory. Do you finish it?
Yes, ma'am. I have the certificate. I sent it in with the application to the pardon board, and I also still have the original.
Good, thank you. I did want to satisfy that for myself too. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And there's some crimes that are life altering, and sex crimes against the juvenile is one of them. So my vote today is going to be to deny.
Mr. Crow.
My vote is to deny. You've given the reason behind all of this is the use of illegal drugs. And yet in 2019, while on probation, you were using illegal drugs. And that hadn't been that long ago. And something as serious as a sex crime against a juvenile, we can't take that risk. My vote is to recommend denying.
All right, Mr. Benjamin, you've received 4 votes to deny your application. So today your application's been denied, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
but the DA from Calcasieu Parish, she wrote
All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Jackson.
Yes, ma'am. It's CHRISHAWN Span.
So our information has you listed, or the records at least, have you listed as Jackson. So, but you go by Span?
Yes, ma'am. I went back to my father's name after my divorce.
Okay. Well, would you then formally introduce yourself, tell us your name and your current mailing address?
My name is CHRISHAWN Span. My mailing address is 914 Chimney Rock Place, Shreveport, Louisiana, 71108.
All right, thank you. And you're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms for a conviction in Caddo Parish in December of 2013 for obstruction of justice. You received a 1-year DOC sentence that was suspended. You were placed on a year of probation. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am. That's all correct.
Thank you. Would you, Mr. Tillis was assigned your case, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Hi, Miss Jackson, how are you?
I'm fine. How about yourself?
Good. Tell us what happened and why you're filing for why do you need a pardon?
So back in, I think it was April of 2012, there was some merchandise at my home, 2 televisions. They weren't purchased by me, so I got rid of them. I thought, since I was the renter of the home, if something was in the home that wasn't supposed to be there, I had the right to dispose of it. I didn't have the right to do that. So I was arrested, and I went to court and I pled guilty to obstruction of justice. And I was placed on probation. I finished my probation, and I didn't know what the process was to get my gun rights restored. So I went to a couple of different people with questions, and then finally someone who knew the answer told me, in order, if you want gun rights, you have to go before the board, and the board has to recommend it to the governor, whether they decide whether or not you get it.
Why did you decide to destroy the televisions?
They weren't purchased by me, and I wanted them outside of my home.
How did they get in your home?
They were brought in by a family member.
Okay, so that's it. I mean, just you wanted to get rid of them, break them up, and throw them out. You had
I
no
wanted
idea.
him out of my home. So, I got rid of him. I know now that, that's not something you can do, but
You knew they were stolen?
I didn't know they were stolen. I knew they weren't purchased by me.
You don't think your son purchased them?
I can't say whether or not he did. I didn't know. I didn't want to take any chance.
I see.
They weren't in a box, so I knew they weren't brand new.
Anybody else have any questions, Ms. Jackson?
Well, I mean, they do say that there was jail phone calls between you and your son, which caused incriminating statements, including the discussion about destroying evidence, stolen items, and firearms linked to the additional crimes.
I don't know anything about a firearm, but there was 2 televisions. There was a jail call recorded.
Yes.
I did say in the phone call, I destroyed the TV. Yes, ma'am. I said that in the phone call.
Okay, so that was your.
This is the only arrest you've ever had, correct?
Yes, sir. Only arrest. No, I was arrested twice in that situation.
Same situation.
Same situation. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One other question. Why do you need a pardon? What do you need a pardon for?
I want to get my firearms back. I want my rights back to have firearms. I have 2 autistic children. I live in Shreveport. It's not the safest city in the world. I have 2 autistic children. I have an autistic 20-year-old son. I have a nonverbal severe autistic daughter. I had 2 people running in my yard at 2 a.m. last month with hoodies on. And they looked up at my cameras, and once they saw I had cameras, they jumped the fence and left. So I would like protection for my home.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, I don't see any other questions. Let me let you know though, Ms. Jackson, there is opposition to your request, and that comes from the sheriff in Caddo Parish, the police chief in Shreveport, as well as the attorney general's office. So you just need to be aware of that. I think.
Let me just ask one thing. So that's the only time you've had any negative dealings with law enforcement, correct?
Well, okay, when you say negative dealings, do you mean when my brother was murdered? I'm not.
No, ma'am. I meant where you were in trouble.
Oh, yes, sir. That's the only situation.
And you've never been arrested for any kind of a violent offense or anything like that?
No, sir, never.
You served in the military for 7 years, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all the questions I have.
Yes, sir.
I think we're ready to vote. Mr. Tillis.
My vote is to grant with firearms.
Ms. Stapleton.
My vote is to grant with firearms.
Mr. Prater.
My vote is to grant firearms.
And Mr. Freeman.
My vote is to grant with firearms.
So you've gotten 4 votes favorable to your request. So we're going to make that recommendation on your behalf to the governor for a full pardon with restoration of firearms. Good luck to you, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Hassan.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Well, it's afternoon now.
Oh, it's 11 o'clock over here. I'm in Boise.
Oh, okay. Well, good morning.
Okay.
So would you, sir, introduce yourself, tell us your name and your current mailing address?
All right. Samee Hassan, gonna be 2867 Sunrise Point, Halton, Louisiana, 71037.
Do you live now in Boise?
I work out of town. I work in construction, so I'm constantly moving. My wife owns a home in Halton.
Okay, and that's your permanent mailing address. Okay, good. So you're here today seeking a pardon with restoration of firearms for a conviction out of Lincoln Parish. In January of 2016, you were sentenced for possession with intent to distribute marijuana, 3 counts, and possession with intent to distribute marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia. You received a 5-year suspended sentence and you were placed on 5 years probation. Is that correct?
I was actually arrested in 2013. I was sentenced in 2016.
Right, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So the sentencing date was January of 2016.
Yes, ma'am.
Your case has been assigned to Mr. Prater. I'm gonna turn it over to him, sir.
Okay, let's cut to the chase pretty good here. It's been, say, 13 years since you were selling marijuana.
Yes,
correct?
Sir. Yes,
and
sir.
it sounded like they made some controlled buys and they recorded it and had to buy money and all that 4 times. They ran a search warrant. Had a good bit of dope in your house and some vacuum sealers and scales and things like that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Was that the last time you sold dope or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You wouldn't lie to me, would you?
No, sir.
Oh, okay. Have you ever been arrested since then?
No, sir.
Were you arrested before then for any reason?
I think I went to the casino before I was 21 and I was arrested for that.
Well, you can go at 21.
No, I wasn't 21 at the time. That's
Oh,
bad.
you weren't 21. I'm sorry. I missed it. Well, my lying ears. Okay. All right. And have you ever been arrested for any violent crimes?
No, sir.
Okay. And this marijuana deal, I don't want to underestimate or not under, it's a serious crime. Okay. But it's, especially when you had 4 counts of it, sounded like it was a pretty big deal for you, correct? You were making some pretty good money.
I wouldn't say. I was just in college, the lifestyle, everybody was smoking marijuana just to make a little bit of extra money. I was also a marijuana user myself.
Okay. Do you still do marijuana?
No, sir. I actually went to treatment, part of my probation agreement, and I also got counseling also.
Okay. So you don't have anything to do with it now?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. And no problem since then?
No trouble at all. I'm currently trying to get expungement. The DA approved it. I just had to go submit my latest background check to him in April. So I'm in the process of getting that also.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
Any other questions? I don't see any other questions, Mr. Hassan. We are prepared to vote. And that, Mr. Prater?
My vote is to recommend to the governor that you get a full pardon with restoration of firearms.
Mr. Freeman?
I concur.
Mr. Tillis?
I concur with Mr. Freeman and Mr. Prater.
Mrs. State?
I concur with Mr. Freeman and Mr. Prater.
My vote is to make the recommendation for a pardon with restoration of firearms. So, Mr. Hassan, on your behalf, we'll make that recommendation to the governor. Good luck to you, sir.
All right. Thank you.